Hello and welcome to another video on the powered armoured exoskeleton project, where today we'll be doing some experiments with a powered gauntlet, a power fist if you will, to see if it's actually practical to make one usable and functional for an actual usable functional suit of power armour. But a question that you might have already while you're liking and subscribing to the channel is, why would you need a powered gauntlet? Well, when the suit is fully done, fully laced out with the armour and the power pack, it's likely to weigh about 70 kilos. I don't think that's too bad, but if you imagine you're climbing up ladders or you've got a hang-off thing, climb up walls, you are going to have a lot more pressure on your fingers, on gripping things, if you don't have any gauntlets. However, the trouble is with gauntlets that they need to be thin enough for you to actually use regular stuff with, whether that's using devices like phones, communication equipment, or pulling a trigger. So this is really an experiment to see how thin can we make it practical, is it even theoretically possible to make the fingers small enough so you can do regular tasks but actually have power assist onto it to increase that gripping strength without breaking your fingers. And to explain the design that I've come up with that is on my left hand, we're going to jump straight into CAD. And here it is, probably the most complicated single design that I've ever made, just because of the quantity of different parts that are involved. So we're going to start off with the easy end, that being the forearm, which is going to be rotating for some better wrist movement. This consists of two main casings, the geometry of which is based on what's on the power armor suit already, so I know they'll fit. This casing can be filled with armour and then used to mount onto the carbon fibre exoskeleton. And if we just remove the back plate here, you can see where this will basically slot into the other half of the forearm, which will be held together with a T-slot of carbon fibre for strength, allowing it to rotate around. And then moving further forward, this whole thing is going to be pneumatic like the rest of the suit is going to start off being, at least. So we've got this air solenoid valve block mounted on the front of the forearm. This consists of 4 simple air solenoids that are screwed into a 3D print that's going to be a high infill. It won't be quite airtight, but it'll be airtight enough for this procedure. There'll then be push-fit connectors mounted into that block for air pipes to go to the hand, as well as push-fit connectors mounted into the solenoid to go into a central block for the air supply. That then brings us further on to the pistons and cylinders that are mounted on top of the palm. These are carbon fibre cylinders mounted onto 3D prints that are used just to hold the cylinders in place. Then the pistons in question will have an O-ring on one end. They'll be predominantly 3D printed down the middle, but we'll have a bolt that runs down the centre for strength, and then a carbon fibre end plate, which then allows cables to be attached onto the end. I'm using this mix of 3D printed parts and carbon fibre to make sure I've got the strength where I need it from the easy to machine cured pieces of carbon fibre, while having the cheapness and flexibility of using 3D printed parts in the middle of everything, where the geometry is complex and hard to make out of carbon fibre, but also doesn't need strength in those places. Which brings me on to where those cables are running. These cables then run from that carbon fibre plate on the tip of the piston down through the holders of the cylinders, and then around the back of the palm, and then through the holes through the centre of the palm, which hopefully you can just about see here. The cables then come out of these holes and then run down the side of the fingers. They then run through the holes on the carbon fibre on the side of the fingers and then attach to the bolt hole at the tip of the fingers. This means when air pressure is then applied down the cylinder, it then pushes the piston out, pulls the cable down through the hole, and then coils and closes the finger up. And that is how it applies pressure. That is how it assists on that grip strength. And while we are rotated onto this side of the hand, you can see there isn't actually a thumb on this. The reason for that is just that the thumb is really complex in movement, and because I don't know how well this is going to work or how aggressive it's going to be, as well with the fact that I'm tight for space already, I'm going to leave it off for now. I've just got this nice carbon fibre looking cover over the side of it, but I figure as well, really your thumb just kind of locks everything in place. It doesn't provide that much power. So once I've figured this thing out, I can add it on at a later date. And lastly, I hope on this overcomplicated CAD design is the most complicated thing, which is the fingers. So the trouble is with the fingers, as I've mentioned, is that they need to be really thin. So we've got these thin pieces of carbon fibre running down either side of the 3D print. The carbon fibre pieces will then bolt together at the knuckles to make up the structure of the fingers. However, it does get more complicated than that, because you then have the knuckle around the top of the fist like your punching knuckle. The problem is you can't have the hinging point in the middle of that knuckle, because that would obviously interfere with the middle of your hand. So instead, I've had to incorporate a sliding mechanism that rotates over the palm, over the top of the fingers. which if we remove this cylinder holder, you can just about see where the mechanism is. We've got these carbon fibre plates. There's one on top here that you can see, and then there's one going through the central point of the palm with 5mm carbon fibre pieces on each end, which then attach to the hinging mechanism at the front, which you can just about see here, which then attaches to the finger, allowing it all to extend over your hand as you close your fingers round. I've made this as such so when it's extended, it all kind of locks against each other. So as the piston pushes the cable out and the cable pulls the fingers round, it won't be able to crush your fingers back into place. The whole thing will basically lock out against itself, allowing it to close the fingers tighter without dragging the fingers back in the slide. I hope that makes sense. I'll try to demonstrate this as best as possible when it's all built up. And then to make sure I wasn't just completely guessing with like finger geometry and everything like that, I did do a very, very simple 3D model of my left hand. I wanted it smooth, didn't want it super detailed, that way that I could just push it up inside the 3D prints to create a mould in CAD to make sure that my hand fits it correctly and all of the hinge points are right. This finally brings me on to how I'm actually going to activate the air solenoids that then push the pistons out. For this, I'm just going to have easy, simple electrical buttons in the fingertips. This thing is only going to close, it's not going to open the fingers, that way there's less chance of me breaking my fingers. And the reason why I want these buttons in the fingertips is so they only activate when I'm actively gripping something. So only when I'm pressing down on something do my fingers inside the fingertips then press the switches down. These are just going to be on and off switches, which doesn't bother me because I can also alter the pressure going into the cylinders. This is a Mark 1, so I'm not bothered about variance. And because they'll only activate when I'm clamping down on something, it's not like it matters if it's high or low pressure going into it. These are going to be simple Arduino toggle button switches. You can buy them on these little boards that I will then badly solder to wires and then slot them into the fingertips. The wiring is then going to be a complete mess because I don't know where to run it. I don't know how much slack I need on the wires, so that's just going to kind of like sit underneath the palm. But they'll do for the Mark 1. These wires can then run to the air solenoids, etc. Oh, and I've just realised I missed the wrist mechanism. So you've got the plates of carbon fibre that go on the side of the solenoid block, carbon fibre pieces that then bolt along the side of the palm. These are then hinged up and down for the up and down movement. You then have two plates of carbon fibre with that hinging point in the middle that allows your hand to rotate a bit left and right. I did decide to have the air solenoid block attached directly to the hand on that one. That's just to kind of limit movement that's going to have to exist between the air pipes and everything. I thought it would be less likely to break if as much is attached to the hand as possible. That whole system I'm hoping is going to work really well because that is a part that regardless I would like to move on to the rest of the power armour whether I've got a gauntlet or not. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure mainly gentlemen, we have finally done this CAD design and it's time to move on to the actual build. If you're still with us, thank you very much. Please keep on watching to make up for the ones that couldn't make it past my rambling of this design. Anyway, to the CNC machine. And here we have all the 3D printed parts, and then we have the CNC cut carbon fibre parts, as well as some carbon fibre tubes for the cylinders, a load of bolts, M4 in particular, as well as some sleeve nuts, also some of these threaded rivets, and some 1mm steel cable, along with the two main pieces of the forearm, the 3D print casings for the armour. I thought I would start with the pistons. You can see how long the bolt is and how it runs through the centre of that 3D print and how the 3D print is not actually like the structure of it. It just helps to hold the O-ring and add to a mounting point for that carbon fibre that is again held in place with the bolt. It's almost like using rebar in concrete in a way. Then there's something I couldn't quite show in CAD, and it's these nut inserts in the bottom of the cylinder holders. These allow each of the fingers to be bolted together through that carbon fibre and easily secured into the palm, crucially without interacting with the cylinder itself. And then this is part of that carbon fibre mechanism that rotates over the top of the palm. You can see how it kind of fits in there. You can see how it slots into the palm there. But here you can see the finger built up with the piston attached. You can kind of get more of a drift of how it all slots in and fits together. Then we have the valve block all built up with the push fits and solenoids all screwed in neatly. But then I have to admit the build quality took quite a dive when I had to solder these little buttons on to the wires. But they are the right size and they do slot into the fingertips nicely. Of which here you can see how badly the wiring's going, but you can see how I couldn't really work out where to route it and how much slack I needed, and that this was just the easiest way at this point. So I've now got the hand all built up with what should be the final valve block and final fittings for it all. Still got to do a little bit of soldering on a couple of switches, but I thought I'll show you as it is. So we've got, starting off with the forearm, we've got the swiveling forearm. That allows the rotation on the wrist. I do need to lubricate up a little bit. And then we've got the air solenoids here, all with air pipes fitted in. Push fit connectors, all onto each one, built into the 3D printed block. That also has a 3D printed block for the main air supply. Then got those carbon fibre cylinders running up top. These do need to be heavily glued into the 3D prints. When they are, it's fine. If not, they do tend to pop out. And then if we flip it upside down, you can see as I slide my hand in, it does actually fit pretty well, even with just the fingertips and no straps. It does naturally want to hang onto your hand correctly. You can see I can move the fingers, and if we rotate over to the side. So if we take a look at the finger, you can see when I pull my finger in, it pulls all that slider out. And then when I straighten the finger up, it automatically starts to push it back in. Pull it out and push it back in. So it's actually worked pretty smooth. It's a little bit stiff, could do with some lubrication, but it does work. Before applying power, I thought I may as well do a dexterity check now and see if I can type anything. The plus point with those carbon fibre pieces being longer than the 3D prints is you can use them to contact smaller things like keys on a keyboard. Once you get the hang of it, it's not actually that bad. I'm not going to say it's quick, of course, but it is possible. And then you can use basic car controls, although, to be honest, nothing too fiddly. And I obviously wouldn't drive while using it. We'll now give this a little test and see how strong it is, how powerful it is, and whether it tries to break all my fingers. Firstly though, I thought I'd just hotwire the solenoids and see what happened when I activated the air pistons, because I had no idea how strong it was actually going to be. But structurally it appeared to be pretty good, so I moved straight on. Testing grip strength with a boost cam. Energy drink successfully wasted. But while watching this video back, I did realise I only properly activated 2 fingers and the third at the last second, which does actually make sense with where it split the can, but I decided to have another go and try to activate all 4 fingers at once. And round 2 with the boost cam. Oh, I see the issue. But I had a part failure, which I predicted would happen eventually, but I thought it'd take a lot longer than this. But I'll explain. So after those experiments, what's this actually like to wear? Well, it doesn't feel as sketchy as I thought it would do. It doesn't feel like it's going to start breaking your fingers anytime soon. The activation only working when you actually start gripping hard on something works well for that. It means it's not trying to activate randomly. You can feel it increasing your grip strength. You can feel it doing an extra clamp down, try to close up. The only problem I've got at the minute is the 3D printed parts, which, if anything, I kind of designed so they'd fail before something else did, have started to quickly wear down where the cables are running through. What is happening, which you can see here, is the cable, which is holding up nicely attached onto these little clamps and onto the bolts and onto the fingers. It is starting to just saw through the PLA, saw through the 3D print, like you can see down here. It's also sawing through one of the piston holders on the other side that runs through here. So for me to experiment with this in the future, I'll have to insert some carbon rods or steel rods down these. They'll have to be very small, but it is doable. This, as I've mentioned, is what I thought would happen. It's just I thought I'd get a few dozen goes out of this before this started to be an issue, before it started to eat into that plastic. But actually, I've probably had a few goes out of it unrecorded to see what happens, then done a couple of recordings, and it's already chewed its way through it. Does make me think though it has more power to give with how quickly it's chewed through that plastic in probably half a dozen goes. Another improvement I think I can make, to try and close the fingers up a bit more, I think what would be worth doing is, instead of having 1.5mm thick carbon fibre on each side of the pinky finger and the index finger, it'd be better to have 3mm down one side, basically strengthen it up on one side and have it thinner in the middle. That'd allow the two end fingers to be closer to each other. It might even be worth doing that on one of the two middle fingers, just to try and bring them in a little bit closer. However, those two fingers, if anything, felt really good when you're fitting in. The gap's not a problem. The pinky finger, though, does feel a little bit further away, a little bit further to the left. So if I could just move that in 3mm, that would make a big change. As for what to do about the thumb, if I come back to this in the future, I'd probably make a thumb like a finger, but actually just have it unpowered. I don't think it's worth the problems of trying to make it powered with all the directions your thumb moves, but it would be good to have your thumb in something, as it's the only part that isn't. And it'd actually help it all fit better and hang onto your hand better with less elastic or less tape. Overall though, it fits really well, and I certainly want to move some of the design choices onto the rest of the suit regardless of the powered hand. I want the palm and this whole rotating mechanism along with the forearm on the rest of the suit, as it just makes it fit the hand and arm so much better and just kind of sits well on your forearm. So going back to the opening of this video, do I think this little experiment was a success? The experiment, yes. But however, do I think that a powered gauntlet, a power fist, could be actually usable on a real suit of power armour? The answer is probably still no. At the end of the day, I think it's still a bit too bulky to be used, and I don't know how I can make it much thinner when it's got to fit round an actual human hand. However, I think it was certainly an interesting build to do, even though it took, frankly, way too long, and there's a lot that I can still take forward on the suit of power armour, like the forearm and all of this wrist mechanism. Speaking of which, in the next video, we'll be doing some upgrades to the suit, hopefully getting a power system. I'm not sure yet on whether to actually just do a speed run of building an entire new suit, as I've modified it so many times now. I could pretty much build a new one with all new parts and actually see how long it takes to make this. Or whether to buy a power system first, fit it to this and then transfer it to whatever I build in the future. So if any of that interests you, please like, subscribe. The better this channel does, the faster I can do these videos. They do end up quite time intensive, so I don't get videos and progress out as fast as I'd like. But with your help, that could change. So please like, subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.